Captain Do-Yoon Kim stood at the viewport of the Earth Expeditionary Force ship, Dauntless. Stars stretched out before him like tiny diamonds on black velvet. His ship was small by human standards, just a diplomatic corvette with basic shields and minimal weapons, perfect for a first contact mission. "Captain, the alien vessel is approaching," said Lieutenant Ji-Ho Park from the communications station. "They're sending a request to board." Do-Yoon straightened his dark blue uniform. At 42 years old, he had been chosen for this mission because of his calm nature and skill with words. Earth's government wanted someone who could make a good first impression. "Tell them they may board," Do-Yoon said, "and ask all senior officers to meet in the welcome hall." 20 minutes later, Do-Yoon watched as the airlock doors slid open. 3 aliens stepped through. They walked on 2 legs like humans, but that's where the similarity ended. They had gray-green skin that looked like tough leather. 4 arms sprouted from their torsos. Their heads were large with compound eyes like insects and small moving parts around their mouths. The tallest alien stepped forward. "I am Supreme Envoy Thax of the Galactic Hegemony. We rule this sector of space." Do-Yoon bowed slightly. "I am Captain Do-Yoon Kim of Earth. We welcome you and hope for peaceful relations between our peoples." Thax made a clicking sound that Do-Yoon's translator couldn't interpret. "You will follow me to our ship to discuss terms of your surrender." A heavy silence fell over the welcome hall. Do-Yoon's second-in-command, Commander Yoon-hee Bae, stepped closer to him. Her hand moved slightly toward the small gun at her hip, but Do-Yoon gave her a tiny shake of his head. "There must be a misunderstanding," Do-Yoon said carefully. "We have not come to surrender. We've come to establish friendly contact between our species." Thax's compound eyes seemed to flash. "All species join the hegemony. This is not a request. You will surrender your ship and provide coordinates to your homeworld." Do-Yoon kept his face calm, but his mind raced. The Dauntless carried only 89 crew members. It was not built for battle, but he couldn't give this alien the location of Earth. "Perhaps we should slow down," Do-Yoon suggested. "On Earth, we believe in talking first, learning about each other, building trust. Trust is not needed. Obedience is required," Thax said. "The hegemony has ruled for 10,000 years. We have conquered 1,000 worlds across 17 galactic arms. Your species will submit like all others." Do-Yoon straightened his back. He stood at his full height, looking directly into the alien's compound eyes. "Humans do not submit easily. We prefer friendship to force, but we defend ourselves when necessary." "Captain," whispered Commander Yoon-hee, "long-range sensors are picking up energy readings. Their battle cruiser is powering. Weapons." Do-Yoon nodded slightly. "Supreme Envoy Thax, I must ask you and your delegates to return to your vessel. We will need time to discuss your proposal with our leaders." "There is nothing to discuss," Thax said. The 2 aliens behind him pulled out strange devices from their belts. "You will surrender now or be destroyed." Lieutenant Ji-Ho Park moved quickly to a wall panel and pressed an alarm. Red lights began flashing throughout the ship. The 3 aliens hurried back toward the airlock. "All hands, battle. Stations," Do-Yoon called out, rushing toward the bridge with Yoon-hee close behind. By the time they reached the bridge, the tactical screen showed the hegemony battlecruiser moving into attack position. It was massive, at least 20 times larger than the Dauntless. "Open a channel," Do-Yoon ordered. Ji-Ho worked at his station. "Channel open, Captain." "Supreme Envoy Thax, please reconsider your actions," Do-Yoon said clearly. "We came in peace. We still wish for peaceful relations." The screen showed Thax standing on his own bridge. "Peace is submission. Your choice is simple. Join the hegemony, or die." Do-Yoon looked around at his crew. 89 brave men and women who had volunteered for what was supposed to be a historic mission of friendship. Now they faced destruction at the hands of an empire they hadn't known existed until today. "We cannot and will not surrender Earth to you," Do-Yoon said firmly. "But we are willing to talk. There must be a solution that works for both our peoples." "There is no negotiation," Thax replied. The alien made a cutting motion with one of his 4 arms. The communication ended abruptly. "Captain, they're charging weapons," called out Lieutenant Sung Mi Han from the tactical station. Her eyes were wide, but her voice stayed steady. "Raise, shields, evasive maneuvers," Du Yun ordered. "Send an emergency signal to Earth Command. Include all data we have on the hegemony." The Dauntless shuddered as it changed course, its engines straining at maximum power, but the ship was not built for speed or battle. "Message away, Captain," Jiho reported, "but I don't know if it got through their jamming signals." The first blast from the hegemony ship hit the Dauntless like a hammer. The lights flickered and several stations exploded in showers of sparks. "Shields at 40%. Sungmi shouted over the noise of alarms. "We can't take another hit like that." Du Yun gripped the arms of his command chair. "Return fire. Target their weapon systems." The Dauntless fired at small lasers. On the tactical screen, tiny flashes of light appeared on the hull of the massive enemy ship. "No effect, Captain," Sungmi reported grimly. Another blast rocked the ship. This one was worse. Du Yun was thrown from his chair. When he got up, the bridge was in flames. "Shields are gone," someone called out. Du Yun helped Yoon Hee to her feet. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. "Get everyone to the escape pods," he ordered her. "What about you?" she asked. "I'll make sure the data gets to Earth," he said. "They need to know what's coming." The ship rocked again. More systems failed. The lights went out, leaving only the red emergency lighting. "Go," Do-yoon ordered Siu. His crew rushed to evacuate. Do-yoon returned to his damaged command chair. He pulled up the ship's final protocol on his small screen. With a few commands, he set the Dauntless to transmit all its data continuously until destruction. A final message appeared on his screen. Transmission active. The next blast from the hegemony ship tore through the unprotected hull of the Dauntless. In his last moments, Captain Do-yoon Kim hoped his message would reach Earth. Humanity needed to know about the hegemony. They needed to prepare. As the Dauntless broke apart, the hegemony battlecruiser turned away. Supreme Envoy Thax considered the encounter a minor victory, just another primitive species eliminated before they could become a problem. He had no idea what he had just started. He had no idea that humans never sent their real military on first contact missions, and he certainly had no idea that the real army hadn't even arrived yet. Admiral Sujin Kang stood with her hands clasped behind her back. Through the massive bridge viewport of the HSS Thunderhead, she watched stars streak by as the giant ship moved through hyperspace. The Thunderhead was Earth's first Apocalypse-class dreadnought, nearly 8 kilometers long. It carried enough firepower to destroy small moons, but it was just one ship in humanity's third fleet. "Admiral," said Commander Tae-ho Lee as he approached. He was tall and thin with short black hair and serious eyes. "We received the full data packet from the Dauntless. The ship was destroyed 3 days ago." Sujin's face remained calm, but her eyes hardened. "Casualties? All hands lost. 89 crew members." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew the Dauntless had been on a peaceful mission. The crew had been scientists and diplomats, not soldiers. "The Security Council has seen the data," Tae-ho continued. "They've officially declared the hegemony hostile. We have authorization for full military response." Sujin nodded once. "Commence Operation First Warning." Tae-ho moved quickly to the command console. His fingers flew over the controls as he sent orders to the rest of the fleet. Around the Thunderhead, 50 other massive warships adjusted their course in perfect formation. "The fleet will reach hegemony border space in 3 hours, Admiral," Tae-ho reported. Sujin turned to look at the tactical display. It showed the border of hegemony space where hundreds of alien ships formed what they called their impenetrable defense line. "Let's see how impenetrable it really is," Sujin said quietly. 3 hours later, the Third Fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of hegemony territory. 300 alien warships waited for them. The ships were arranged in a wall formation that blocked the most direct route to the inner hegemony worlds. On the bridge of the Thunderhead, Admiral Sujin watched the alien ships carefully. "Open a channel to the hegemony fleet," she ordered. Lieutenant Min Seo-kwan worked at the communication station. "Channel open, Admiral." "This is Admiral Sujin Kang of the Earth Defense Force," she said clearly. "You have attacked and destroyed An Earth diplomatic vessel. You killed 89 innocent people. Surrender now or face the consequences. The main screen showed an alien face. It was the same species that had attacked the Dauntless. This one wore ornate armor and had colorful markings on its leathery skin. I am Fleet Commander Zextool of the Hegemony Grand Fleet, the alien said. Your primitive species has violated hegemony space. You will surrender now or be destroyed. Sujin smiled slightly. You seem confused, Commander. We're not here to surrender. We're here to show you what happens when you attack humans. She ended the transmission with a small gesture and turned to Teho. Combat operations. Execute Battle Plan Alpha. Teho nodded and sent the command to all ships in the fleet. Battle Plan Alpha confirmed, Admiral. All ships reporting ready. The next 14 minutes were unlike anything the Hegemony had ever experienced. The human ships moved with impossible speed and coordination. They split into smaller groups, each targeting sections of the Hegemony line. The Thunderhead led the main attack group, heading straight for the center of the alien formation. When the Hegemony ships fired their weapons, strange energy fields around the human vessels absorbed or deflected the blasts. The aliens' most powerful weapons barely damaged the human ships' shields. Then the human fleet fired back. Beams of concentrated energy sliced through Hegemony vessels like they were made of paper. Missiles that could think and adjust their course found targets no matter how the alien ships tried to evade. Smaller human craft swarmed between the larger vessels, targeting engines and weapon systems with precise strikes. On the bridge of the Thunderhead, Admiral Sujin stood calmly as her ship shook from enemy fire. Status report, she said. Shields, at 92%, reported Lieutenant Haijin Yu from the defense station. Minor damage to sections 12 and 47. No casualties. Enemy fleet status, Sujin asked. Teho checked the tactical display. 276 enemy ships destroyed, 23 heavily damaged. One appears intact and operational. Sujin nodded slightly. Target the damaged vessels. Leave the operational one alone. Admiral? Teho looked confused. We need a messenger, Sujin explained. Someone to tell their leaders what happened here today. 4 minutes later, the battle was over. 299 Hegemony ships were destroyed. Only one small communications frigate remained intact, floating among the debris of what had been the pride of the Hegemony fleet. Send them home, Sujin ordered. Let them tell their leaders what they saw here. The lone Hegemony ship didn't need to be told twice. It turned and rapidly accelerated away from the battlefield. Admiral, Teho said, looking at his console. We're receiving a transmission from Hegemony High Command. It appears they monitored the battle. Put it through, Sujin said. The main screen showed a large chamber with several high-ranking Hegemony officials. In the center sat an ancient-looking alien with faded skin and milky compound eyes. I am High Lord Vexkar of the Galactic Hegemony, the old alien said. Your attack on our border fleet is a futile gesture. You have spent your strength and gained nothing. Our main armada is already preparing to crush your homeworld. Admiral Sujin raised an eyebrow. You think this was our main force? The alien leaders looked at each other in confusion. You deployed 51 capital ships, Vexkar said. Our intelligence indicates this represents most of your fleet. Teho struggled to hide his smile. Sujin allowed herself a small laugh, the sound echoing across the massive bridge. High Lord, you are dangerously misinformed, she said. The Third Fleet is just an advanced scout group. The real military hasn't even been deployed yet. The alien's confusion turned to concern. You lie to save your world, Vexkar said, but he sounded less certain now. Return what remains of our diplomatic vessel, the Dauntless, Sujin said. Return any survivors, though I believe you killed them all. Apologize formally for your unprovoked attack. Agree to fair negotiations. Do these things, and perhaps we won't show you what a real human military response looks like. Vexkar's compound eyes narrowed. The Hegemony does not negotiate with lesser species. We have ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. Your handful of ships cannot change that. Sujin shook her head slightly. Then you leave us no choice. She turned to Teho. Send word to Earth. Tell them to activate the ghost fleets. She looked back at the screen. You have 3 days to reconsider, High Lord. After that, we stop being diplomatic. She cut the transmission and turned to look out at the stars. The real war hadn't even started yet. The hegemony had no idea what was coming their way. They had no idea that humanity had prepared for this moment for centuries. And they certainly had no idea about the dangerous ship that was about to enter the fight. General Hyunwoo Choi sat in a large chair at the center of Earth Command. At 112 years old, his face was lined with wrinkles, and his hair was pure white. But his eyes were sharp and clear. Life extension technology had kept his mind and body strong. 7 large screens surrounded him. Each showed different parts of human space. 3 red dots blinked on separate screens, the colony worlds now under attack by the hegemony. Colonel Eun Ji-yoon approached and stood at attention. She was tall with short black hair and wore the dark blue uniform of Earth's military. Sir, she said crisply, the Security Council vote was unanimous. They have appointed you Supreme Commander of the Hegemony Response Force. Hyunwoo nodded slowly. He had hoped to live out his remaining decades in peace, but duty called once more. What's the situation, Colonel? He asked. The hegemony has launched attacks on 3 colony worlds, Yoonji reported. New Seoul, Terra Nova, and Horizon. Civilian casualties are estimated at 15,000 so far. They bypassed our border defenses using some kind of stealth technology. Hyunwoo's weathered face showed no emotion, but inside, his anger grew. These were peaceful colonies, farmers, miners, scientists, not military targets. And the Third Fleet, he asked. Admiral Kang gave the hegemony 3 days to stand down and apologize. They responded by sending more ships to the border and launching these attacks. Hyunwoo stood up slowly. He walked to the central display that showed the entire galaxy. Tiny blue dots marked human worlds. Red marked known hegemony territory. There were far more red dots than blue. They think we're weak because we occupy so little space, he said quietly. They don't understand. Yoonji nodded. Everyone in the room knew what he meant. Humans had spread to only a small part of the galaxy not because they couldn't expand farther, but because they chose to grow slowly and carefully, quality over quantity. Sir, said Yoonji, the colonies need immediate help. What are your orders? Hyunwoo turned to face the room full of officers waiting for his command. Many had served under him before. They knew his reputation. The most decorated soldier in human history. The man who had never lost a battle. Activate the ghost fleets, he said. A hush fell over the command center. The ghost fleets were Earth's best-kept secret. For centuries, humanity had prepared for first contact going badly. Hidden throughout human space were automated shipyards, robotic factories, and defensive installations, all dormant until needed. Colonel Yoon-ji moved to a special console. She placed her hand on a scanner and spoke clearly. Authorization, Colonel Yoon-ji Yoon, Earth Defense Force. Access code, Thunderbird 7, 9 Omega. A mechanical voice responded, voice pattern confirmed, handprint confirmed, access granted. Yoon-ji looked at Hyunwoo. He nodded and spoke his own code. Authorization, General Hyunwoo Choi. Final activation code, Phoenix Rising. The main screen changed to show a simple message. Ghost Fleet activation sequence initiated. Throughout human space, hidden doors slid open. Massive shipyards powered up. Assembly lines began to move. In deep space, stealth fields dropped to reveal fully armed and ready warships that had been waiting for this moment. In Earth Command, the screens lit up with new data. Green dots appeared all across the map, thousands of them. All Ghost Fleet units reporting ready, General, said one of the officers at a monitoring station. 50,000 ships online and awaiting orders. Hyunwoo nodded. Deploy relief forces to the 3 colonies under attack, full defensive measures, save as many lives as possible. Yes, sir, the officer replied, sending the orders. Hyunwoo turned to Eunji. What do we know about the hegemony homeworld? Intelligence has identified it, sir. she answered, touching controls to bring up a new image. Planet Vexatoria, in the Andromeda Arm. Heavily defended with orbital platforms and a fleet of at least 20,000 ships. Hyunwoo studied the image carefully. Then he made a decision that would change the course of the war. Prepare the Whisper. For immediate deployment, he said. Everyone in the room looked surprised. The Whisper was a single ship, a special operations vessel with advanced stealth technology. It carried no weapons. Sir? Yoonji asked. The Whisper against their homeworld? Sometimes, Colonel, you don't need 1,000 ships, Hyunwoo said. Sometimes you just need one perfect message. 3 days later, the Hegemony High Council met in their Great Hall on Vexastoria. High Lord Vexakar sat on his raised throne. Around him, lesser lords argued loudly. The human ships appeared from nowhere, shouted one lord. They destroyed our attack forces at all 3 colony worlds. How many ships? Demanded Vexakar. Over 5,000 at each location, replied another council member. They used weapons we've never seen before, energy beams that pass through our strongest shields, missiles that seem to think for themselves. Vexakar's compound eyes narrowed. So, they hid their true strength. It changes nothing. We still outnumber them. We will crush these humans and add their worlds to the hegemony. Suddenly, the massive doors to the council chamber burst open. Guards rushed in, their weapons ready. My lords, the head guard called. Out. There's been a breach. A human is in the palace. The council erupted in confusion. How could a human get past all their defenses? How could one even reach their homeworld without being detected? Then a small metal object rolled into the center of the room. It projected a hologram, a human figure in a military uniform. It was General Hyunwoo Choi. Greetings, High Lord Vexakar, the hologram said calmly. I am General Hyunwoo Choi of Earth. Vexakar stood from his throne. How dare you invade our sacred halls? Your death will be slow and painful, human. The hologram of Hyunwoo smiled slightly. I'm not actually there, High Lord, but one of my operatives is. They placed this device and are already gone. Your palace defenses never detected them. The guards searched frantically but found nothing. What is the meaning of this? Vexakar demanded. A demonstration, replied Hyunwoo. You attacked our diplomatic vessel. You killed innocent civilians on our colonies. You thought we would be easy to conquer. The hologram gestured, and the image changed to show the ghost fleets in action. Thousands of advanced human warships moving with perfect coordination. What you've seen so far is just our rapid response force, Hyunwoo continued. The one ship that infiltrated your homeworld, bypassed all your defenses, and delivered this message. It's called the Whisper. It's just one ship. The hologram changed, again showing Earth and its massive orbital shipyards. There are millions more, Hyunwoo said simply. Surrender now. Vexakar smashed a fist into the arm of his throne. The hegemony does not surrender. We have ruled for 10,000 years. Then you leave us no choice, said Hyunwoo. Remember, you started this war. We will finish it. The hologram disappeared. The device that had projected it melted into a small puddle of liquid metal. Vexakar looked at his stunned council members. Prepare the Void Talon, he ordered. It's time to use the forbidden weapon. Far away, back on Earth, General Hyunwoo received the report from the Whisper's crew. The message had been delivered perfectly. They're not going to surrender, are they? Asked Colonel Yoonji. No, replied Hyunwoo. They're too proud, too used to being the strongest. But they've never met humans before. He turned to look at another screen, one that showed a massive object moving slowly near the edge of the solar system. Is it time? Yoonji asked quietly. Hyunwoo nodded. Send the signal. Wake the Leviathan. Deep within the hegemony's most secret base, a team of alien scientists worked day and night. They moved around a massive ship unlike any other in their fleet. It was black as space itself and shaped like a talon, curved and sharp. High Lord. Vexakar stood on a viewing platform watching the work below. Next to him, Chief Scientist Zexmur explained the progress. The Void Talon is nearly ready, my lord, said Zexmore. We have installed the forbidden technology from the precursor race. Once activated, it will tear apart the fabric of space itself. Even these humans with their advanced ships will not survive. Vexakar nodded slowly. How many worlds will it destroy? We can target specific planets, my lord, but the effect will spread. Nearby systems may also be affected. A small price to pay, Vexakar said coldly. These humans must learn their place. No species challenges the hegemony and survives. Meanwhile, on Earth, Director Min-Ki Beck of the Advanced Warfare Division sat in his underground office. His desk was covered with reports about the war. The room's only light came from the screens on the walls showing battle maps and data feeds. Soft chime announced a visitor. The heavy door slid open to reveal Dr. Ha-Jun Ryu, Min-Ki's assistant. Ha-Jun's normally calm face showed excitement. Director, Ha-Jun said, you need to see this. He placed a datapad on the desk. Min-Ki picked it up and studied the information. His eyes widened slightly. Is this confirmed? He asked quietly. Yes, sir. The Deep Space Tracking System detected movement from the outer reaches of the solar system. Something massive. Min-Ki stood and walked to the main screen. He entered a series of commands, and the display changed to show a section of space beyond Pluto. A massive object was moving slowly toward the inner solar system. Is it hegemony? Min-Ki asked, staring at the readings. Ha-Jun shook his head. No, sir. It's ours. The Leviathan has awakened. Min-Ki took a deep breath. The HSS Leviathan was humanity's best-kept secret, a ship so powerful that its existence was known to fewer than 50 humans. Built inside a hollowed-out dwarf planet beyond Pluto, the Leviathan was 30 kilometers long and equipped with weapons that could crack planets. Alert General Choi, Min-Ki ordered. Tell him the Leviathan has responded to the activation signal. Ha-Jun nodded and hurried from the room. Min-Ki continued to watch the screen. The massive ship had been under construction for 80 years, built in total secrecy by automated systems. Even most of Earth's military leaders didn't know it existed, and now it was coming home for the first time. 2 days later, the largest crowd in human history gathered in cities around the world to watch the sky. The government had announced that a special ship would be visible passing by Earth, a ship that would end the war with the hegemony. In New Beijing, Jaemin Cho stood with his young son, looking up at the clear blue sky. Like everyone around them, they wore special glasses to protect their eyes. Dad, will we really see it? The boy asked excitedly. Just wait, Jaemin said with a smile. It's coming. A hush fell over the crowd as a shadow appeared in the sky. At first it looked like a small dark cloud. Then it grew larger, and larger, and larger still. Gasps rose from the crowd as people realized what they were seeing. The ship was so massive that it blocked out the sun like an eclipse. Its surface gleamed with a dark blue metal never seen on Earth. Along its sides, lights pulsed with energy. That's the Leviathan? Jaemin's son whispered in awe. Yes, Jaemin replied quietly. That's what's going to protect us. All across Earth, billions of humans watched as the giant ship passed slowly overhead. It was a message to them as much as to the enemy, a reminder that humanity had prepared for this day. In Earth Command, General Hyunwoo Choi watched the Leviathan's approach on the main screen. Colonel Yoon-ji stood beside him. It's magnificent, she said softly. Hyunwoo nodded. And it's just in time. Our intelligence reports that the hegemony is preparing something called the Void Talon. They believe it will give them victory. What is it? Yoon-ji asked. Unknown. But it appears to use technology stolen from an ancient race. Our scientists warn it could be extremely dangerous, possibly a weapon that affects space itself. The door to the command center opened, and Admiral Soo-Jin Kang entered. She had returned from the front lines to help coordinate the final defense. The Leviathan is in Earth orbit, General, she reported. Captain Jeon Sung reports all systems, functioning perfectly. Ji-un? Hyunwoo asked with surprise. She's the captain? Sujin nodded. She was the lead designer. No one knows the ship better. Hyunwoo turned back to the screen. Then we're ready. Send word to the United Earth Security Council. It's time for me to address them. 1 hour later, Hyunwoo stood before the 24 members of the Security Council. These men and women represented all of humanity. Their faces were serious as they listened to his report. The hegemony believes they're about to unleash their ultimate weapon, Hyunwoo told them. They have no idea what's coming for them. What do you propose, General? Asked the council president. A single decisive strike, Hyunwoo answered. The Leviathan, with minimal escort, will travel directly to the hegemony homeworld. We will demonstrate our power in a way they cannot ignore. Just one ship? Asked another council member. Is that wise? Hyunwoo smiled slightly. Sometimes one perfect ship is more effective than 1,000 regular ones. The Leviathan isn't just a warship, it's a message. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Leviathan, Captain Ji-un Sung reviewed the mission plans. At 38 years old, she had spent half her life helping to design and build this incredible ship. Now she would command it in battle. Status report, she ordered. Her first officer, Commander Jun-ho Park, checked his console. All systems green, Captain. The ship is performing exactly as designed. Crew is at battle stations. Ji-un nodded. The Leviathan's crew was small. Just 500 people to run a ship 30 kilometers long. Most systems were automated, controlled by advanced AI. Prepare for hyperspace jump, Ji-un ordered. Set course for the hegemony homeworld. Captain, Jun-ho said quietly. Intelligence reports the hegemony is gathering their entire fleet to protect their weapon. We may face over 10,000 enemy ships. Ji-un's face showed no concern. They could bring 100,000 ships, Commander. It wouldn't matter. The massive ship turned slowly in Earth orbit. Its engines began to glow with a blue-white light. In Earth Command, General Hyunwoo watched as the Leviathan prepared to depart. Good hunting, he said softly, though no one could hear him. On the main screen, the Leviathan seemed to stretch for a moment. Then it vanished in a flash of light, jumping to hyperspace. 12 smaller ships, still enormous by normal standards, followed it into the void. The final battle was about to begin. The Void Talon moved slowly toward the edge of the Sol system. Behind it followed 10,000 hegemony warships, the largest armada ever assembled in the galaxy's history. High Lord Vexkar stood on the command bridge, watching as his fleet prepared for the final attack on Earth. Today we will end this human problem forever, Vexkar announced to his commanders. The Void Talon will tear open space near their homeworld. Their fleet will be caught in the rift. Their planets will be pulled apart. The survivors will beg to join the hegemony. The alien commanders clicked their approval. None of them noticed the small warning light blinking on a nearby console. High Lord, called out a sensor operator suddenly. Something is approaching from hyperspace. Something big. Vexkar turned to the main screen. How many ships? Just 13, my lord. But one of them is... It can't be right. Speak clearly. Vexkar demanded. One ship appears to be 30 kilometers long, the operator said. Our sensors must be malfunctioning. Vexkar's compound eyes widened. Show me. The screen changed to show a section of space ahead of them. A flash of light appeared as something emerged from hyperspace. Then another flash, and another. 12 human warships appeared, forming a protective circle around a central point. Then the 13th ship arrived. It was like watching a mountain appear from nowhere. The ship seemed to keep coming and coming, impossibly large. Its dark blue hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. Along its massive sides, weapon ports opened like hungry mouths. By the first egg, whispered one of the commanders. What is that thing? Vexkar stood frozen for a moment. Then he shook himself. It's just one ship. We have 10,000. Prepare to attack. On the bridge of the Leviathan, Captain Ji-un Sung sat calmly in her command chair. The massive view screen showed the hegemony fleet ahead. Thousands of ships arranged in battle formation. That's their full military might, said Admiral Su Jin, who stood beside Ji-Eun's chair. She had joined the mission as an observer. They've committed everything, Ji-Eun nodded. And we've brought just 13 ships. Hegemony fleet is moving to attack position, reported Commander Jun-Ho from the tactical station. They're charging weapons. Shields at maximum, Ji-Eun ordered. Prepare the gravity manipulation system. Jun-Ho worked quickly at his console. GMS charging. We'll be ready in 3 minutes. Open a channel to the Hegemony fleet, Ji-Eun said. The communications officer, Lieutenant Dae-Jung Kim, touched controls on his panel. Channel open, Captain. Ji-Eun stood up. Her voice was calm, but carried authority. Hegemony vessels, this is Captain Ji-Yoon Sung of the human spaceship Leviathan. You have attacked human worlds without provocation. You have killed innocent civilians. You have refused all attempts at peaceful resolution. This ends now. Power. Down your weapons and surrender. The screen changed to show High Lord Vexakar. The alien's face showed a mixture of anger and fear. We do not surrender to lesser species, Vexakar said. Your large ship does not frighten us. The Hegemony has ruled for 10,000 years. We will rule for 10,000 more. Ji-Eun sighed slightly. I expected as much. She turned to Jun-Ho. Time to GMS activation? 1 minute, Captain. Ji-Eun nodded and sat back down. All crews prepare for battle. The Hegemony fleet attacked first. Thousands of energy beams and missiles streaked toward the human ships. The 12 smaller vessels moved in perfect coordination, their advanced shields glowing as they absorbed the attack. The Leviathan didn't move. Energy weapons hit its shields and seemed to vanish. Missiles exploded harmlessly against the protective barrier. Shields holding at 98%, reported Jun-Ho. Minimal power drain. Ji-Eun nodded. Status of the Void Talon? It appears to be charging some kind of energy weapon, Jun-Ho answered. Our sensors detect unusual space-time distortions around it. Target that ship specifically, Ji-Eun ordered. GMS status? GMS fully charged and ready, Captain. Ji-Eun looked at Admiral Su Jin, who nodded her approval. Show them what humanity is capable of, Ji-Eun said quietly. Jun-Ho pressed a sequence of controls. GMS activating now. Deep within the Leviathan, a system unlike any other in the galaxy, powered up. The gravity manipulation system was humanity's greatest technological achievement, a device that could control the very force that held the universe together. A wave of invisible energy spread out from the Leviathan. It passed through the human escort ships without effect. When it reached the Hegemony fleet, the results were immediate and devastating. Ships suddenly found themselves pulled toward invisible points in space. Metal hulls groaned and bent. Smaller vessels were the first to collapse, crushed into dense balls no larger than basketballs. Larger ships lasted longer, but the outcome was the same. In less than a minute, 9,000 Hegemony ships were destroyed. On the Void Talon, High Lord Vexakar watched in horror as his fleet vanished before his eyes. What is happening? He screamed. What are they doing? Unknown, my lord, cried a science officer. They're somehow controlling gravity itself. Activate the Void Talon, Vexakar ordered, now. Engineers rushed to comply, but nothing happened. The ship's systems were failing as the gravity waves interfered with their power systems. My lord, said the ship's captain, we cannot move. We cannot fire weapons. We are helpless. On the Leviathan, Ji-Eun watched the results with a calm expression. GMS performing exactly as designed, she said. Target the remaining 1,000 ships. Minimum compression setting. We want survivors. The gravity waves adjusted, disabling the remaining Hegemony vessels without destroying them. The ships floated, powerless in space. Open a channel to all remaining Hegemony vessels, Ji-Eun ordered. When the channel was open, she spoke clearly so all could hear. This was one ship, one, and it's not even our most advanced vessel. The real military fleet is still in reserve. Now shall we discuss the terms of your surrender? There was silence for a long moment. Then Vexakar's voice came through, subdued and defeated. We'll discuss terms. 3 days later, in the Grand Hall of the Hegemony capital, Supreme Envoy Thax, who had survived the initial encounter with Captain Doyoon's ship, watched as High Lord Vexkar signed the surrender documents. General Hyunwoo Choi signed for Earth, his weathered face solemn. When the ceremony was complete, Thax approached the human general with a question that had been bothering him. If the Leviathan wasn't your most advanced ship, what is? Hyunwoo smiled slightly. That information is classified, but here's what I can tell you. Humans don't like to be threatened. We don't like to be attacked. And most importantly, we always prepare for the worst. Always. As he spoke, a message reached his personal communication device. It was from Earth Command. Project Titan approved. Construction of 10-kilometer defense platforms to begin next month. Hyunwoo's smile widened just a bit. The hegemony would never know that humans were already building the next generation of defenses, always looking ahead, always preparing. In the centuries that followed, the once mighty galactic hegemony became a footnote in human history books, just another empire that learned the hard way that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology or weapons. It was that humans never, ever showed their full hand until they needed to, and somewhere beyond the edge of known space, something even more powerful than the Leviathan waited silently, just in case it was ever needed, because for humans, there was always a bigger ship coming. The end.